Welcome to the deep dive. So today we're jumping into a really thought-provoking perspective. It's from this excerpt called Consequences, the True Engine of Change.
Right. And it doesn't just ease you in.
No, definitely not. It hits you right away with this claim. Motivation is a myth.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, just like that. So let's try and unpack this, see what it actually means for, well, how we get things done.
And that's exactly what we want to do in this deep dive, right? And understand why the source says that. When it calls motivation a myth, it's talking about that fleeting feeling, inspiration.
That spark you wait for.
Exactly. It calls it inconsistent, even says it's a fragile feeling. People wait for like rain in the desert.
Harsh.
Yeah. And the flip side is it insists that consequences are permanent, that they are the real engine for change, the thing that actually sticks.
So the logic is, if there's no real downside to not doing something,
You'll just keep avoiding it. You'll avoid the discomfort, the growth. Makes sense, actually.
it certainly doesn't mess around, does it? This isn't about just, thinking positive thoughts.
Not at all. It's arguing for something much more primal.
Yeah, exactly. Like, instead of needing a hype video to hit the gym, the source says you need a consequence if you don't go.
So like a penalty. Or telling everyone you're going, maybe.
Could be financial penalty, public commitment so you'd be embarrassed, or just that raw feeling of falling behind.
And it applies elsewhere too, right? Not just the gym.
Oh, yeah. Instead of waiting for inspiration for that big project, maybe what you really need is like the fear of staying broke.
Or seeing others succeed while you're stuck. That kind of pressure.
It's definitely a stark contrast to the usual find your passion narrative.
It is. And what I find really compelling is how it links this to basic survival.
The lion analogy.
That's the one. A lion doesn't need motivation to hunt. It knows if it doesn't kill, it doesn't eat.
Survival, not inspiration.
Exactly. The lion isn't waiting for a vibe, right?
Yeah.
It's driven by a non-negotiable consequence. Starve or hunt.
And the source is saying we're basically the same.
Pretty much. That if we don't build in real consequences for slacking off, we'll just coast. Our dreams will just keep dying quietly.
So it's about designing your environment so inaction hurts more than action.
Mm-hmm. Accountability that actually stings a bit.
Like deadlines with serious repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe putting real money on the line.
Yeah, or making those public declarations so, like it says, failure becomes embarrassing. It creates this binary choice. You win or you suffer.
So you structure your life where not doing the thing has a tangible, uncomfortable cost.
Exactly. Which really brings up a question for you, the listener, doesn't it? Are you always asking, do I feel like it today?
Which is the motivation
Yep.
question.
Or are you facing that ultimatum? Do it or face the cost. That's the consequence mindset.
The source suggests the things we want, the body, the money, the success they're found behind pain, behind risk, behind embarrassment.
And crucially, behind 1,000 moments where you didn't feel like it, it basically says, look, you'll never feel ready.
So stop waiting to feel ready and start designing the necessity to act.
Yeah, design, not desire.
And here's where it gets really interesting, I think. It argues, winners don't feel they decide.
That really shifts the focus, doesn't it? From internal feelings to external structures, engineering pressure on yourself.
So wrapping this up, what's the takeaway here? This deep dive really forces us to look at a fundamental choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you keep relying on motivation, which this source basically calls a crutch because it can just disappear?
Or do you start embracing consequences, which it frames as a weapon, something reliable for getting you to act?
So if winners don't feel they decide, maybe the final thought for you is,
What real consequence could you actually proactively install in your own life? How could you get, as the source says, dangerous and really start winning?
the suggestions are intense, like making failure cost you something or making comfort painful.
Or making laziness expensive. It's about creating incentives that compel you, rather than just waiting for some temporary good vibes.
Stop waiting, start designing.
That's the challenge. Food for thought.